Good morning, good evening. Joseph, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Joseph?
Yeah, hello?
Great, we're live.
Okay.
We're live to TMS RoundTable Facebook page. This is Dr. Tova Goldfine. My guest tonight, this evening is Joseph Vargas. I say it correctly?
Yes, you
Rose
did.
may enter the studio. We've been experimenting with some different times. Rose and I have been graciously getting up in the middle of the night, early in the morning to go live. And we decided in the next few months we're going to experiment with some different times. So it's 8 o'clock Israel. It's the evening in California, and I made a mistake. So this is a TMS roundtable, TMS Sarno moment. I made a mistake. I did something big time mistake. And Joseph gently told me this morning that I made a mistake. Now, I could be, Joseph, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you notice this a week ago when we were, whatever happened, I made a mistake with the timing. And it's actually Sunday night in California. And I thought it was Monday night in California. But Joseph, in all his Sarno sincerity and his compassion and his acceptance, and not even judging me. I mean, I'm the doctor and I'm the producer and I shouldn't be making a mistake. But I'm Tova, I'm human, and here I am. The timing is all off, but we are here. We're going live, we're recording it. It'll be on our YouTube. You've got to hear Joseph's story. First of all, Joseph, I apologize. And I thank you so much for forgiving me with enormous humility from me, and thank you so much. In Hebrew, we call you're a tzaddik. You're a righteous man. Thank you so much, because you could have been really pissed at me.
I
I'm done.
appreciate that. Yeah, and honestly, you've done so much for the TMS community. Like, you can do whatever you
Can you
want,
speak a little bit
honestly.
louder? Say that again. Speak a little bit louder and say that.
Yeah, so you've done so much for the TMS community. You can do whatever you want. Like, it doesn't matter. You can't do any wrong, Tova. So
Thank you.
I just appreciate everything you do. I appreciate you having me on here.
Wow.
And that's such a TMS moment because even me, I'm so much more graceful with other people than I am with myself.
You got
And
it.
you are too. I can't even believe you're hard on yourself because you're so gracious with other people.
Thank you. Listen, I want to put your name up here, Joseph, because we have some people watching. I would like you to speak a little bit louder. So there's not really an echo, but you're a little bit in the background. So just go as loud as you can. Make sure that our listeners can hear us, and that when we put this on YouTube, that it can be a great show for people to learn.
Yeah. Is that
So
better? I think
yeah,
that's better.
much better.
Okay.
Okay, so we want to hear your story. And anybody in the audience that's listening to the Facebook Live, feel free to ask a question. We interrupt, and it's at RoundTable, so anybody can RoundTable and say yay or nay. Joseph, tell us from the beginning, what happened? Because it's a healing story.
Yeah. So I've dealt with TMS, I would say, my whole entire life. I think like once I got the TMS knowledge and I really looked back into my past, I think the first ever manifestation I had was actually like some pretty bad constipation when I was like 4 years old. So I remember that.
You remember being
I,
uncomfortable at 4.
I remember that. I remember my mom like forcing me to drink water because, my doctors didn't know about psychosomatic anything. So everything was physical remedies. So she would like be forcing me to drink water. And she would tell me, if you don't drink the water, like you're not going to be able to go to the bathroom. So that would be the thing to scare me and get me to drink the water. So I think that was
At age 4, you were already repressing.
right. And at age 3, my parents divorced. Is there a connection? I haven't really dived too deep into my parents' divorce as far as like journaling or even in my therapy that I'm in, but maybe there's a connection. So at 4, I had the constipation thing. I think that was the first manifestation. And then when I got into middle school, I had experienced chronic hives all over my body. I was super embarrassed about it.
Wow.
The doctors didn't know like what caused it. They just told me it would go away. And at the time I believed them, and it did. And it lasted about, I think, 3 months. And then it went away. And then it happened again. It lasted for like a month, and then it went away. So that was another one. And then I've experienced growing pains. So in middle school, my knees would sometimes just shake randomly, and they would just feel really weak. Doctors told me it was growing pains, which that's a myth. If you've read the Sarno, you know that's a total myth. There's no such thing as growing pains. Growing doesn't hurt. And then after that, I'm trying to think. I mean, I had so many. It's a laundry list, so I want to get the story right.
You can make a list.
So yeah, so the growing pains, and then I got into high school, and then I actually had groin pain, literal groin pain. So that space in between your leg and your hips, I had pain there, and it would hurt so bad. It would feel like I got stabbed. And actually, it was so bad that sometimes it kept me up at night, so I couldn't sleep.
And you know what?
And
We all had growing pains, and now we know that it's really stress in the mind reflected in the body. We know that. Anyway,
100%.
I'm going to interrupt along the way because it's kind of what I do. So I apologize ahead of time. If it makes you nervous, just tell me to lighten up, Doc.
Yeah, interrupt.
Okay, go ahead. So growing pains, and how old are you now?
Growing pains, and then now it's groin pain, so Groin. So literally on my groin, not on my knees anymore where the growing pains were, but now I was experiencing groin pain.
Wow. At what age?
And this was about 14.
Wow, that I can't imagine. Like this is a sensitive area.
Right.
Okay? Let's just put it, really amazing. So go ahead, continue.
Right. So now I'm experiencing groin pain, and I played basketball. So there's a lot of like, if you play basketball, there's a motion called a rip through, where you really stretch your leg a lot. And when I would do that, it would hurt so bad because that movement places a lot of pressure on the groin area, that area of your leg. So it hurt, and I went to the doctors, and wow, I don't tell this story often, so a lot of memories are coming up. So
Yeah.
I go to the doctor.
This is a safe place. Joseph, you want to cry? Rita's here. She's an amazing therapist.
Rita, I love Rita. Hi, Rita.
Just let it flow, brother Joseph. Let it flow.
Yeah, and feel free to interrupt me, guys. Yeah, we love you, Rita. But anyway, so I go to the doctor because it's keeping me up at night, and like I'm not sleeping. The pain is like 8, 9 out of 10. And we go to the doctor. They don't have answers for me. And I would keep going back. Like I would go to urgent care some nights because it was keeping me up, and they were telling me nothing's wrong with me. And I'm like, how can nothing be wrong when I'm in horrible pain? And their advice to me, I remember one time I went to an urgent care, and the doctor told me take a warm bath. Like, oh my goodness, dude! I went out of the doctor's office so angry. Because I just looked at him, are you freaking serious? Take a warm bath? Come on. Anyway, so
I just want to know this is the first like blow at how we don't get to trust the doctor, because the doctor's supposed to give us the answer. A colleague of mine grew up with doctors as parents, and she's became a body-mind therapist, and she was like, doctors are supposed to heal. And if that doctor could have been taken your hand, said, look, I'm an honest person. I'm human like you. We have children. We don't always know. Like, this is also what the doctors, and this is what Dr. Schuberner says and Dr. Schechter says, and some doctors do say. Like, I fence with Dr. Hanscom, and I say, don't bash doctors on my show. And he's like, no, we got to bash them. They're not doing the right thing. But this is important for us because This is part of the negative relationship that occurs between us and the doctors because they're not giving us answers. So we sort of, they're like our parents who don't give us love and attention, who don't give us freedom, who make us feel wrong, bad. And it's the relationship that we need to learn from. So go ahead. So the doctor said, take a warm bath. And you were like,
Yeah, and I love your comments because I have a lot of just traumatic stuff with doctors, which we can get into later. But I go to the doctors, and then I'm like having recurring visits because this issue keeps continuing. Like every day I'm at basketball practice, and I'm in horrible pain after. Like it hurts to walk. I know when I get home, I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping, you know, and then I gotta get up and go to school the next day. By this time I was a freshman in high school, and you know the pain just got so bad where like I demanded an MRI. And like even my father had like made this list of all these things to rule out. And so it was like cancer and all these serious issues that like we wanted to rule out because by this point the pain had been prolonged for about like almost I think 6 months at this time. And so
so you grew up with
anyways we
there was enormous health anxiety going on all the time.
oh 100%. I was like, do I have a hernia? Like, are they not detecting what's going on? Because I'm in serious pain, like attention grabbing, can't sleep pain. And I'm at basketball practice and it's affecting my performance. And so we demanded an MRI. We literally had to demand it because can I mention insurance companies here or is that off limits?
Listen, I want to focus. You had an MRI at age 14?
Yes.
No, this is the first time, 35 years of practice, I've never heard of that.
Wow.
I cannot believe that. At age 14?
At age 14,
Wow.
yeah, I had an MRI because
For groin pain or leg pain.
yes, groin pain. It was literally, yeah. So, because, yeah, it was just like they had no answers for us. Like, I was like, why am I in pain? They're like, we don't know. So, anyways, I get the MRI. It comes back all clear. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm like baffled. I'm like, okay, well, there's nothing wrong. What the heck? So, anyways, I see my primary care doctor. You didn't answer my question. I'm not going to mention insurance names or companies.
Okay. Don't repress anything. Let it out. Let it out.
Okay. I'm just going to say that HMO insurance companies have this big thing, and I've seen it firsthand, and I've also seen other cases in all my obsessive research I've done in this space, that they really don't like giving scans because they're expensive. And they will like wait and wait and wait and wait until you're like begging them to give you a scan, and then they'll give it to you. That's my experience in the HMO insurance world. I have PPO now, and it's so much better. Like the care is like 10 times better, and it shouldn't be that way, you know, because if these insurance companies really knew what's good for them, they would be introducing this psychosomatic aspect and also just getting to the bottom of things right away.
Well, this will never happen because those companies are supported by the pharmaceutical companies, which we cannot talk about.
Right.
But
That's
the
not.
program is about.
Yeah.
And Rita's here and Jeannie's here. And, you know, I think you're becoming a coach. We have to see the healthcare system should be like the one aisle in the grocery store that people go down, but every other aisle is mind body. That they shouldn't need it except if, God forbid, an emergency. I mean, medical care is important for certain things. I break a leg. I still want to do mind body.
Oh, they were fantastic.
But I want to get that leg casted and on my way. And I want the healing to be more efficient by the mind body. So we're talking about a big thing here. You know, like Michael Galinsky talks about big T and little t. You know, it's very many layers. Right now, you're experiencing at 14, growing up so fast, not having a life as a kid, a fun boy playing basketball. I can't imagine where your focus went. So at 14, you got an MRI. Okay, then what's happening? You're now 18. You're very smart. You're wise. You're stressed out. You're in pain. What else is going on?
Yeah. So one thing I do want to mention after that MRI, was that honestly, I have no idea what would have happened if I said yes, but actually, so my primary care doctor told me, okay, there's this guy, he's in San Francisco, which is like 6 hours away from me. There's this guy in San Francisco, and you know, he kind of does like, I don't know if he said mind body or if he said spiritual or what word he used, but it was some sort of like alternative like thing. And I remember in my head thinking, oh no, that's bullshit. I don't want to do that. And you know what? I wasn't in bad enough pain. As crazy as it is, even though I couldn't sleep at night, the pain would come and go. So I still kind of had, I actually very much had a normal life outside of the pain because the pain would come and go.
Okay.
So when they told me that, I was like, oh, definitely not that shit. Like, I don't know what I'm trying, but definitely not that. So anyways, time goes on. I had the groin issue. It would come and go. I still played basketball. It didn't like stop me from playing. And actually over time it just got like it lessened in intensity. I just knew like I couldn't overdo it. So like, you know, people typical things people say when they have chronic pain, but I just knew my limits. I couldn't overdo exercise or else I would be in really bad pain. So fast forward, you know, I had back pain throughout high school. Every injury I would have in basketball would like turn into a chronic pain issue. So one time I hit my back on the wall and it turned into a chronic pain issue.
So your body was
yeah.
automatic. Your pathway was already made because it wasn't even like, it was just automatic, you know, get hurt, drama, get hurt, bigger drama. But you continued, obviously you didn't stop. You continued playing and living in pain, and sort of that was one way that you accepted things, and maybe it calmed it down a bit. But go ahead. I'm just kind of figuring things out.
Right. You know, and I think that's why a lot of these issues didn't get worse, because I would like play through them. You know, I didn't let it stop me from playing. I just had to like limit myself, you know, all the time, which I was angry about, but I just kind of accepted it. I wasn't like mad about it, or at least I thought I wasn't. I think I was repressing that anger about the pain the whole time. And so anyways, by the time I graduated high school, I already had a bunch of lingering issues. Like I had chronic wrist pain that would come and go, chronic back pain. For the back pain, I was told it was because I had scoliosis, which I do. I do have scoliosis, but I know now that that doesn't cause pain, and it doesn't cause me pain. And then I had acquired CPPS, which is chronic pelvic pain syndrome.
Wow.
But it was like right before I turned 18, and that pain was by far the worst out of everything. It was 24/7. It was constant. Even more of a sensitive area than a groin. Now it's literally my whole pelvic area.
Wow.
And it was bad. So enter the medical merry-go-round again. And it's crazy, Tova, because I had forgot about all of these past like medical merry-go-round movements. For some reason, my mind had just like repressed them so much that I just forgot about them. And every time felt like the first time. It wasn't until I went back and connected the dots that I was like, oh my gosh, it's been TMS the whole time. However, so medical merry-go-round, no help. They didn't find anything wrong with me. I had a bunch of scans. I saw the best doctors in the country. This whole time, I was feeling very misunderstood at this point. This was like when the whole TMS thing was just very traumatizing. It did start to affect my life now in every single way. I was completely obsessed with it. Seriously, like, it was the only thing I can think about. It was the first thing I thought about when I woke up. The last thing I thought about when
being in pain.
Yeah, being in pain and trying to fix it, trying to figure out what's wrong with me. And at this point, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm broken. Like I don't heal well from injuries. I'm in pain everywhere in my body. I'm only 18 years old. Like what is going on? I feel like a freaking grandpa, you know? So, whew, Hold on, let me take a breath.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're only 18 and now you're 20 something.
22.
22. So this
Yeah.
is 18. We're talking 4 years ago. You have no solution. You're feeling overwhelmed. It's running your life. Then what happens?
Yeah. So I at this point when I was 18, I like decided I was gonna try and figure it out for myself what was wrong with me since the doctors weren't figuring it out. So this is when I started trying like alternative treatments on myself. So I became kind of like a mad scientist and like I studied the body. I was reading like medical journals on my computer. I mean, it just sounds so insane to say. That's why I laugh. Because like an 18-year-old should not be doing that. It should be like having fun, having a normal life. And here I'm trying to fix myself and be my own doctor. Because I remember with the CBPS issue, I completely gave up on the medical system. My GP looked at me because I'm like, why am I in so much pain? Like, and you don't know what's wrong. And she was like in tears. Like, it was real empathy that she had for me. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Unbelievable.
And I was just looking at her like I was in tears because I was so frustrated and in pain. And I just left that like just feeling like they're not gonna help me. They're not gonna help me. Like they can't help me.
I just want to
They
say
can't help me.
point, like so many people go into drugs, go into terrible things to shut the pain, and many commit suicide. So you're really a hero. So continue, really. So you walk out of that office, you're studying, you feel some empathy. Sounds like you have some empathy for yourself, but who even taught you how to do this? But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so like I'm reading medical journals, I'm learning about like metabolism, how diets affect the body, how the body heals from injuries and stuff like that. And I had just thought that my body maybe just had some weird thing where it just didn't heal right. So I changed my diet a few times. I tried a few elimination diets. I'll name them because maybe there's people in here that have tried the same. So I tried carnivore. I was very disciplined. I did not cheat. I did carnivore and keto. I think I was in ketosis for about a year without cheating. I did not break it. I was like so determined.
Better? Did you feel a difference? Because look, we're talking about
Hell no.
food. Oh, because food can be a chemical change. I mean, I'm a believer of food, but you have to do all the things together. I think this is what you. So go ahead.
So I'll say with me, I didn't feel the difference. I'll be completely honest. My issue was neural pathways, not inflammation. And even like I checked my blood work like recently, and I still have very low inflammation. You know, so and I eat whatever I want.
On the record, if somebody like people like Matthew Embry and the people that I've met who's healed MS and arthritis and cancer, they do the food program with the other work, and it is
absolutely
very effective because your brain is creating inflammation and the food isn't getting rid of it because the brain's creating it, but then the food supports the body that's been beaten and beaten up by enormous negative pathways. So I hear you, but the food thing has a place. It's just
absolutely
you're making a good point because it didn't work then at all.
It didn't work at all for me. Like, you know, and absolutely
you
like
didn't know about TMS up here. You just knew I eat good food, I feel better. Okay.
right. Well, I done all the research, so I knew how food affects the body and it affects all these different hormones and it affects inflammation. So I knew that, but I just didn't have results. And also, I kind of thought maybe I was experiencing something autoimmune because I already had all these like lingering pain issues, and I thought it was something systemic. However, when you're dealing with
systemic, it is just at this point, it's turning it's weakening the organs. So if you kind of look at that, what you had was autoimmune, but it can all be healed by the same vehicle. I'm just making a point. I don't think rather than label it, the fact was it was neurophysiological or psychophysiological. I'm interested.
Correct.
No change at all with the food, even though you're feeling disciplined and feeling like, tell us what really broke it for you, what really shifted it for you.
Yeah. So with the food, if it did affect one thing, I think it did affect just the way I felt overall, but it did not affect the pain. So I think it did like affect my mood. I was,
Important.
feeling overall healthier. However, the pain, like it just did not touch it.
Okay. Interesting.
So at this point, like I was trying all these things, nothing was working. And it's crazy because now I know better, but I had kind of crossed off autoimmune off the list because diet did not touch it. And what I've seen with people with autoimmune is that a diet is going to have some effect on the pain. I literally to this day have not seen anyone get on an anti-inflammatory diet with autoimmune and it doesn't have at least some effect. With me, it had zero effect. So I had crossed it off. And I was like, okay,
your mood was different. I'm just putting the Legos together. Your mood was different. It led you to believe that your body your body can change. You have control over your body in a different way. So I'm just looking at the big picture. Go ahead.
Yes, 100%. Yes. And one thing when I was studying this stuff too is that it did show me that people can heal. And I was starting to see people heal from autoimmune and like different cancers and stuff by changing their diets and all that. So yeah, like I said, it had a place. But for me, I realized that I didn't think there was anything autoimmune going on at this point because I had tried all these other things and it didn't have any effect on the pain. On my overall mood, yes. But Tove, you gotta understand, my mentality was like everything was about the pain. So if you can see, like at this point, I'm like, it didn't touch the pain. Okay, throw it away.
Right, as opposed to the outcome is like, I'm in a better mood. I can like deal with my life. Like you were just focused. Okay, this is a good point. This is also why you weren't healing, because your outcome was no pain or I'm not better, as opposed to I'm better, I'm calmer. The gas in my body is running my body. I'm functioning. I'm thinking well. Very good point.
Right, but I didn't care about any of that because I was still in pain. That's the only thing that mattered to me was getting results with the pain. I didn't want to feel better.
You thought the pain was in your body still and not because it was brain pain, but you thought it was in your body.
Yes, I didn't know about TMS. So yeah. So anyhow, time goes on and years went by, and I think I was 20 years old. I've known about TMS for almost 2 years now. And here's how I found out about it. So I didn't know about CPPS either, because if I had that label, I probably could have found out it was psychosomatic, because more doctors are starting to recognize that CPPS is psychosomatic. There's actually a urologist named Dr. Tross who's done great overall in urology, but when I found out about CPPS, and he has a website where he says many men try physical therapy, changing their diet, and more, but I think that focusing on the issue may actually make it worse. And I went, bingo, CPPS is psychosomatic. Okay. Because that's exactly something Dr. Sarno or Schubert would say, that focusing on this makes it worse.
Yeah.
Right? The urgency, the vigilance. Anyhow, I didn't have that label. So I had at some point determined this pain was behaving like RSI. My symptoms matched RSI perfectly. It just was in a different part of my body. The pain would come and go. It would seem to get worse with physical activity. Certain things like that. So I Google how to cure RSI. And I'm on at page 6, because by this time I already knew what to sort out. I'm like, I already know that. And there's a Harvard forum of students that are computer programmers, and they're like, how we cured our RSI using this book. And it was Dr. Sarno's Healing Back Pain. Yes, and this was the hallelujah moment, because it was a turning point.
What year was this?
This was about 2020. Heading towards the summer, so I think it was April or May. So I'm like,
I've tried it. You're newly healed. more or less, like 2 years ago.
100%. Yes, yes, I'm very new. So I'm like, okay, I've tried everything. Like, this is kind of crazy. I still didn't believe it, but I couldn't deny the reviews on the book on Amazon. Like, people were saying it was curing them of like 30 years of back pain. And these are the book cures. And I want to pause here because I was not a book cure. I wish I was, but I was not. But there's reviews of people that are book cures saying like, I cured my back pain by reading this book. And at this point, I wasn't completely closed off to it because I had read Joe Dispenza's book, You Are the Placebo, which changed my life forever, that book. Because it led me on a spiritual journey that I'm still on. But anyhow, so I read the book, it made sense, but it was really hard for me to understand. Like, the unconscious mind, all those were new concepts to me. I just didn't get it. I knew it was real and it made sense, but like my brain just couldn't understand it. So I started reading more about TMS, and I had to and the book that really got through to me was The Divided Mind.
Wow.
So that one was the one that it just made a lot of sense for me. It clicked. It was extremely scientific. It's very like meticulous and detailed. And that started a journey for me where I was starting to see some progress. And one of the big turning points.
By the way, you were having less symptoms?
Yes. So it was touching the pain for the first time. Something was actually having an effect on the pain.
But you had to not focus on the pain for that to happen. Maybe you can chat about that for a few minutes. How did you stop focusing on the pain? You focused on your healing. See, this is like how we can be angry, but anger doesn't have to hurt us. Like you focused on your healing, but maybe you felt somehow you calmed your brain down.
Yeah, well, my brain calmed down when I realized there was nothing wrong with me. So when I realized that my body was functioning exactly how it's supposed to, and because I had thought my body was broken, my body's broken, and then I realized this is just a normal biological function of the body. Like, emotions are a biological function. It's like no different than going pee or, even poop. And I tell this to people now, and I'm just going to say it. So
say it.
You gotta take
it's me here. You can say whatever you want.
Okay. If you got to take a shit, you can hold it. And it may go away for a few hours. But when it comes back, it's coming back stronger. And when you go to that toilet, it's probably going to be explosive.
Okay.
So
your medical point, Dr. Vargas, is?
My medical point is that emotions are the same thing, and they are a biological function. And the same way that just because you hold your shit in, your body's not going to give up trying to get it out.
Wow.
If it did, you would get sick, which is why your body has that function of taking a crap. Wow. Because it's not good for you to have that stuff in. And emotions are the same way. If you were to hold that stuff in, it's not good. And that's why the unconscious mind has a function where these emotions aim to get into your consciousness. It is a biological function. And we know that based on all of the studies that we have and Sarno's books. The symptom imperative is a clear indicator that these will not be denied. They will come out and they will be recognized. And if they are not, you will get sick.
Absolutely. And
so,
your pain was just one more emotion, like anger or fear or shame or grief and whatever. We'll have another show where we could talk about what actual emotion that was. But you're now 18, 19, 20. You're figuring it out. Now what happens? Like, really?
Yeah. So
it begins to go away. The pain begins to shift or go away?
Shift. So in the middle of reading The Divided Mind, I closed the book. I walked out of my room and my mom started arguing with me, and I had a pain flare that instant. Boom. And I was like, okay, this is real. Like, what I just read in that book is real. She just argued with me. I got mad, and boom, the pain immediately flared up.
You might not even been noticing that before. Might not have, like Rose would say, now you're recognizing, now you're more aware And maybe when you're 14, if you had that awareness, you would have been able to notice the relationship between the pain and when it came and when it didn't. So that's really another great point.
100%. And yeah, I realized I never made the connection, and then I made the connection. And then I read Dr. Howard Schubiner book, which also gave me more insight on the physiology of TMS. And he has a questionnaire. It's like, do you have TMS? And where you list all your TMS manifestations. And here I was starting to connect the dots. And a big one for me was there was a time where my mother didn't want me to walk home because she was like real overprotective. And I did it anyway, but I hated it because I didn't want to disappoint her. But also at the same time, I didn't want to let her hold back my development. Even as a child, like I need to be walking home. I'm old enough.
Very smart.
And I broke out in hives during that time. And that was just one of the many like connections I was making as I started doing that exercise. So I made the connection, and now I entered into like what I would like an obsessive like trying to heal, because now I had the answer, and now I was like, this is it. I'm gonna go harder than ever, and that's why like the pain buzzed, but I didn't get a lot of results. I just got a little bit of results. So I did get the pain to budge just by understanding the physiology, and also I started to incorporate what Alan Gordon is calling now pain reprocessing therapy. So I stopped reacting to the symptoms, and I started just to like let them be. I didn't fight them, and that really made a dent in the symptoms. But it was the emotional part, and it still continues to be that part for me, where I'm still getting better, because it's like it takes a lot of effort and attention to change some of the patterns that you have. And
let me stop you there, because I think what I would hope is that you accepted the patterns and then they could change.
Yes, but I didn't accept the patterns until recently when I got into therapy. Because before I would just judge myself for having the patterns. Wow. For them just existing, you know?
Pain.
Right, pain, perfectionism, all the things that generate anger and rage. And when I started getting in touch with my anger, I realized like just how mad I was at a lot of things, and just how easy I get mad.
Can I just ask you for the record? So your parents got divorced at age 3. Were you bullied as a child? Were you like anything else, like a big T or little T that might have happened? Because it sounded like you're a sensitive boy. You had to learn that the hard way to channel your sensitivity. But did anything else might have occurred, and maybe even in utero when your mother was? I mean, who knows? We don't know. But you grew up very quickly. You had enormous ability to be aware, and now you're channeling that sensitivity and awareness to help you, because it hurt you in a way for many, many years.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest trauma in my life is actually the medical trauma. Outside of that, it was the divorce. But the medical trauma was after everything, you know? So before that, it was the divorce. And then I do have a lot of anxious personalities in my family, just in general. So epigenetics can probably play a role in that. Sensitive nervous system. But yeah, other than that, I haven't put my finger on it yet.
It's okay. It's a process.
Right.
And so what happens now when you get into pain? When was the last time you had some pain? 5 minutes ago?
2 days ago.
When I interrupted you?
No, 2 days ago.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know, because I really don't like remember it anymore. Before I used to always remember, oh, did I have pain yesterday? Did I have, Schubiner talks about this, like, the pain journals. It's the worst thing. Like, you should not log your symptoms. Oh, the pain was a 10 out of 10 yesterday. It was a 7 out of 10. You know, you shouldn't do that.
Well, Alan Gordon says, I remember reading one of his books, and it's like I had a bad day, a good day, and I'll call someone up and I'll say like, "How's it going?" And I'll kind of like not want them to focus, but it's kind of like, "Oh, the day was the day." It's kind of like to accept the day, not label it good or bad, or label it 1 or 10, or how many had this month. It's more like an observation. Oh, I'm managing. I'm living my life. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm what I call diving into the things that I don't think I can do. Like, do what don't hold back your life, but observe and be aware that there's. I mean, how would you phrase this, Joseph? Like, we're going to be aware. We're sensitive people, but how do we channel that sensitivity?
Yeah. So I used to like. The pain journals are bad because it's only about pain. You're not actually focusing on the driver of the pain, which is emotions.
Your feelings.
Right, your feelings. So when I say I don't do that, and actually that's exactly what my therapist told me. Like, she's like, you could just say it was a bad day, because I like to rationalize things. And she's like, you just say it was a bad day, like you struggled.
Right.
So now when I have pain, I will attempt to attend to my emotions. I am more in touch with my emotions now, so I can kind of dig and see what's going on. If, whatever emotions are driving that, I will try to imagine them. And that's what Sarno said you had to do, because the repression mechanism is to make you not know what's going on in your mind. That's the purpose of it.
To distract.
So he actually said,
you. Say that again. I want to understand it. Like, the pain is to distract you, right? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, that was Sarno's distraction theory. And now I also think it's a message as well. So it's paradox. It's both at the same time. Right.
Very good. Very good to understand that.
It's both at the same time, and it's hard. I couldn't grasp it. I was like, is it a distraction or is it a message? It's not either or. It's both at the same time. And so the distraction aspect of it is so that you don't know what's going on in your mind. So what Sarno said to do in the divided mind is that he actually encourages patients to imagine what was going on. So you actually have to use your imagination, because especially if you haven't been in touch with these feelings for a long time, you really got to use your imagination. Like, so for example, let's say somebody pissed you off yesterday, and you forgot about it. You're not even thinking about it. You're going about your day, and boom, you get a pain flare up. Use your imagination. Okay, what could have pissed me off? Maybe recently or yesterday, or just sometime in the recent time that has gone by. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, it's almost like you know that you're kind of hitting where you're supposed to be, because your body will tell you. And if you hit that, like, you'd be like, oh, that person did piss me off. Oh, that person did piss me off. And you might get a reduction in symptoms, or you might just get a feeling of peace. And the best way that I can explain it is, if you've ever like drove away from your house and you feel like you forgot something, and there's this like feeling of like, it's like this low level anxiety. You're like, oh, what did I forget? Like, and then you remember, boom, that anxiety goes away. That's how these emotions function. That's the biological
function.
It's
still okay to go back to the house and check the oven. It's okay to do that. It's not OCD.
Oh my gosh, my mom would be an hour away.
If that's what it takes, because rather than stuff it, go back, check the oven, because that's you accepting yourself. I worry, so I worry. Rather than stuff my worry, I'm going to accept that I worry, because I grew up and there was worry around the house, and that's my default. But to accept that, rather than judge myself, that's the layer of maturity. And that's you being the psychologist. That's the psychologist in you. That's the doctor in you. And that's the healing within.
Yes, 100%. Yes. And the oven thing is so funny because my mom used to be like an hour away. We used to be an hour away on the family vacation. She'll go back to check the oven. Yes. Crazy. But anyways, so that's what I do when I get a pain flare now, you know? I just try and check in with myself. And here's the thing, if I can't figure it out, I just give up sometimes. And that was hard.
You don't give up. I think you accept. Tell me, what do you mean by giving up?
I just accept the pain. I'm just like, okay, I can't figure it out right now. I don't know what's going on. It will probably come up later. And it's the same thing, like, you know, when you're trying to remember something and you're just trying too hard and you can't remember it. And sometimes if you just like accept that you can't remember it and you just go by your day, it comes up. So that's what will happen.
What is that, Dr. Joseph? What is that?
What is what?
What is that, like when you just let go, it just comes up? What is that? What is that physiological, chemical reaction, neurological reaction? It's the brain calming down and saying, oh, I'm going to go back and be a brain and be a piece of flesh. And I'll let your trusting yourself and your believing in yourself and your letting go in order to have control mechanism, which also is unconscious, you know. So it sounds like, and I wouldn't have known this except for the last 2 years of amazing experience in my career. But it sounds like you're allowing your unconscious to be conscious. And so there's no unconscious surprises. The unconscious will do its job, which is the goof. It will do its automatic job, which is the body. That was goof in Hebrew, the body. And then the mind, I mean, I'd like to say that the brain is a piece of flesh.
It is.
It is. We do tell it. Like, it's fascinating. I've been reading a book by Norman Dodges called The Brain That Changed Itself. And it's fascinating. Neuroplasticity is really an incredible topic of, is this brain a piece of flesh? And what's feeding it? What's, like, is it we're feeding it. We're in control. That's what I think I want to say here. We are really in control in such a way that we want to just give it away to a brain.
Right. And yeah, I love that. And I think it's crazy because even though, like, for me, it was a spiritual journey as well, at the same time, like, I see the brain now as a piece of flesh. And because of that, I understand the physiology so much, because now emotions are not this separate thing from physical and even like spiritual and mental. Like, now you realize they're just all the same thing. And you stepping back sometimes, if you can't figure out what's going on in your unconscious and you say, I'm going to let it do its job, is trusting that this piece of flesh is going to do its job. I just said these emotions strive to come to consciousness. So they're going to come to consciousness. Like, you don't have to work so hard, especially if you're doing this work and you're bridging the gap. Your mind, I think it's going to feel safer to do that as well. So it's going to become more efficient at that. At least that's my theory. And the same way that if you have to take a crap and you hold it, you know it's going to come back. Like, you don't have to worry about if you're going to have to take a crap again. You are. And I think that you can take that same approach if you're in like a pain flare and you can't figure it out. Just believe that your mind, you're going to figure out what's going on in your unconscious, because it's not going to let you not figure it out. And that's actually something I got to give credit where it's due. Dr. Dan Ratner kind of helped me out with this. He's just like, sometimes you just got to let it work for you. Like, let this knowledge, this TMS knowledge, do the work for you. Sometimes you have to step back and let your mind just do it for you.
Excellent. I mean, I was going to say, like, what would you want to share? So share that with our listeners and explain it a little bit. What do you mean, let it do it for me? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So the same way that your brain gave you the pain and you didn't have to work for it, it just did it for you. It gave it to you as a gift, right? And I loved your talk with Michael Galinsky about, like, you know, it doesn't feel like a gift, but it's a gift, and it wants you to open this present, which is whatever the message that it has for you. this is a function that you can't stop. It's a part of us. So if you just let it do its thing, it's going to do its thing. You don't have to, just like you didn't have to try to bring the pain on, you don't always have to try so hard to figure out what's going on in your mind. You can trust it, and it'll come up just like that thing that you forgot at home when you left for your vacation. And at some point during the drive, it came up. Let's hope it's not an hour and 30 minutes after you left your house, right? But yeah, I hope that point is.
Or I have a better idea.
Sense.
Why not prepare, put a note on the door, checklist before leaving? Like, this is how we understand our nature. I mean, we can't, our ego gets in the way. Oh, I'll remember that. I don't need a note. No. We're all reparenting ourselves at every level. We're reparenting ourselves. And that's part of it. It's not our parents' fault. They did the best they could. They did the best they could. Are there holes in the Swiss cheese? Big ones. Are we to be blamed? No. Are we responsible? Yes. That's my theory. But I wanted to say something. You said something so amazing. I forget, but it's really excellent. Okay, yes. From my experience, if everybody could see their symptoms and their pain and even their autoimmune disease and even their cancer as some gift for them to learn, their healing will happen not only efficiently, lovingly, spiritually, and they will be able to live a quality life. If they can understand that they're not a victim of pain or disease. And it's really profound that you brought that up, and you are in that process right now of realizing, the gift of what happened to you. For so many years, you were in a struggle.
Yeah. And I do want to say, like, for the people watching this, it is a gift. However, and you can correct me if not correct me if I'm wrong, because there is no wrong, but if you disagree, you can disagree with me. There is a fight in this. You have to fight for your life. However, you don't fight the symptoms or the illness. That's not what that looks like. Because that's one thing I think I kind of got messed up and thrown off track in the beginning, because I kind of lost my fight. And you need that fight, but you don't fight the symptoms or the illness. What do you fight? The fear of the pain. You fight. And even when I say fight, I want to be careful, because the way you think of fighting the fear of the pain is not like for most people, the first way you're going to think about it. The way you fight fear sometimes is to actually allow it.
Because we don't want to, there's already a conflict. So I don't like the word beat the cancer, beat the MS, fight it. Right. But you're right. It is an acceptance. It's a love affair. I think if we were to use the word fight, what do you think, Joseph, about fight for yourself?
Yes.
Right. Fight for yourself. You owe yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't give up.
You owe it to your body and your nervous system to stop giving into the fear of the pain.
Yes.
And the fear of the symptoms and the fear of the illness, because you fighting is making your nervous system more ramped up. You're getting deeper into fight or flight instead of deeper into rest and repair, which is what you need to be in. So the paradox here is like, we hear about, if you've read into Carl Jung and resistance and all that. The funny thing is that even if you don't want to resist, let's say you're learning how to stop resisting your symptoms, it doesn't mean you don't resist anything. You actually have to resist your habit of resisting. So you're still resisting something. There's still, and that's what I mean by there's still a fight. You get what I'm saying here, Tova? That's
right. Listen, our fight and flight mechanism is there. How do we understand this and use it to help us.
Yes.
So this is understanding biology and chemistry, and it's brilliant what you're saying, because it's between the lines of, yes, we are fighting, like Matt Embry, who's beating MS, and living a life and no cheat days, and he's always posting about his power runs and don't give up. But he's this calm, Jesus believing guy that helped him heal MS, and not.
And so am I.
Okay. Yay for the big
Ask
J.
anyone about
Good.
me, they will say I'm calm.
But this is interesting because it is not a war. A love affair is also passionate. What's on the other end of love? I mean, we're talking about the same coin. Love,
Right, different
hate,
sides.
fight, win. And we have the nature to protect. So protect yourself. Love yourself. That is what we're talking about. And it came up really doesn't come up in our show. It's I'm giving you the doctor stamp. You're it. You are your psychologist and your own doctor. And I'm so thrilled that I met you. How did I meet Joseph? We have a YouTube, TMS RoundTable, and Joseph would comment, "Die Hard Patriot." And I'm thinking, why is he dying hard? Like, Patriot what? I don't know anything about Patriot. Die Hard Patriot. And a year ago, I said, "Do you want to be on our show?" Because he mentioned he had a TMS story. He's like, no, I'm not ready for it. And then like 3 months ago, he said, "Doc, I'm ready." Right? Isn't that what happened? And then I said to him, "What does Die Hard Patriot mean?" He said, "It's about the football team or something." Right?
Yeah. I made that when I was like 10 years old. Yeah.
But you are a Die Hard Patriot. See?
I am a diehard because was not going out without a fight. That was the only thing that kept me doing the research. Tova, I don't know if I eventually would have came across somebody who knew about Sarno's work, but I know that the people in my life did not know, and it was a lot of people. So I think I had to find this for myself, and it's like, I remember I had these house plants and I didn't take care of them. I neglected them. Anyways, they started stretching to try and get some sun. And I realized, like, whoa, there is like this fight in every living thing to survive, right? And I had to get in touch with that in myself, like, over and over and over and over. And even like 3 months ago, I didn't even get into it, but I had like the worst flare of my entire journey. Even with all this head knowledge, I had the worst flare of my entire journey. And I had to really get in touch with that inner fight because I was feeling so defeated after knowing all this information and still like falling into a flare. But why? One of my friends told me when I was tired of everything, I was like, I can't believe that I like let this happen. Like, she's like, because you're human. Because you're human. Because you're human. And you know what? We mess up, but we also stretch, right? We stretch and we
like the plant.
We go for we go for the light. We go towards the light.
You're so profound. You're so profound. I want to just tell you, there's been some comments. Rita La Barbara is amazing. She and Tamara healed from CRPS. Like, amazing women. Like, I wish they were like my neighbors. We could just be like hanging out together, having coffee, like writing books and writing blogs. They're amazing women. And they were on our show twice, and they'll be back again. She made some comments you can read. Margaret Martin, an amazing and mature interview with Joseph. All of it makes so much sense. Margaret, thank you for that comment. Jeannie Cohen, our cheerleader, is here, and Scotty is just never missed a show. Scotty's amazing. He healed from, I think, some chronic pain with the help of Jeannie. He does her breathing workshops. So I'm going to round up in a minute, but any questions from anybody out there? What I'm very excited about is to put this on Facebook later today, put it on the mind-body syndrome, and I'm going to give it a different name because there's some amazing points here. I mean, I don't think people are going to throw eggs at it if I say, pain is a gift. I'm not going to say that, though. It was profound. I mean, I'll get my tires sliced if I say that. Like, it was profound. I can take the eggs. But it was profound what you said about the pain is a gift. And Rita, it's profound as it is, and allowing versus resisting. And Rita said something really smart. Listen to this. She said, it's happening for us, not to us.
Right. Your body is functioning exactly how it's supposed to.
So we're not a victim, and that may be a key word. I might title it that for the YouTube, because really, it's not like to beat yourself up, but we have to be victims to come out of the victim. I've been a victim off and on my whole 64 years. And I had to be a victim in order to learn that I can be a victor. I had to. That's how we learn. It's not like that's where we belong. It's like I'm in a position, in a place to reach the light, like you said.
Right.
And I want everyone to know that. So
even if it's kicking and screaming.
And even if I'm pooping all over the place, like whatever you want to call this, Joseph, I'm a mother, a grandmother, a doctor, like whatever happens, we have bodily functions, and pain is not something that happens to us. It happens for us. It's so profound, Rita. Let me ask you, Joseph, if you wanted to call this podcast, that's not a podcast, if you wanted to call this live Facebook show something, what would you want to call this?
It's a great question.
You can think about it and send some words.
Yeah, but the first thing that comes is interpreting TMS.
Wow. Yeah.
Actually, not TMS, because we're expanding this now, and that's one thing that I really respect about you, Dr. Tova, and Rose, is that you guys are not scared to come out and say that autoimmune is a part of this. There's people that are scared because, I get it, but I think there's enough evidence now where it's like undeniable, that it is the same. The autoimmune diseases, they serve the same exact function as the TMS symptoms, and just like the TMS symptoms, they can be reversed. I've seen amazing things. I've seen people cure lupus, cancer, MS. I've seen people completely, entirely like remission, like they have zero MS. It's insane, but by doing this work, because it is a biological function.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm really, really so happy that I'm on my computer all day long answering people who talk to me on YouTube, because I found you, Joseph, and it's worth my, in fact, I even have a standing desk, because I don't want to sit all day and even think about any back pain. I just want to be in motion. Forget pain. I want to just be in motion biomechanically. So I have a standing desk, but I'm on the computer a lot, and I love when people comment on YouTube. I love it. Joseph, people might comment on this YouTube, and I'll connect them to you. I'll send you a copy. We're going to have you again, and we're going to title it Die Hard Patriot. Die Hard Patriot. We're going to title it that. I'm going to have you back with Rose, because it was afternoon for her, and we might have gotten messed up at the time, but it was a wonderful show. You were amazing. I'm honored to be talking with you. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for you to take the time and the patience with me and my technical pain. I might have a hive or two after the show. Look, Michael Galinsky 6 months ago even put a picture on Facebook. His whole face was blown up. Talk about, and he calls this disease called being human. Anyway, maybe we'll have you and Michael on this show. We've been wanting to have Michael. Maybe we'll have you two on the show together. And, he's just wonderful to have. And we'd like to have you back and to talk more about, the gift and how wise you are and how your pain made you wise, and that, you didn't suffer or struggle. You were climbing a mountain, and you kept climbing, Joseph. I mean,
Thank you.
so I'm really in awe. And you know what? Your parents did the best job they could. And they obviously gave you some amazing gift and you added to that. So we'll meet again. So I know it's time for you to go to sleep and my day's beginning. Have a wonderful sleep well and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, thank you for the comments and thank you for everyone who watched and your
Everybody.
comments. I will respond to all the comments. Leave
Great.
comments.
Yeah, go back to if there anybody you want to chat with, go back to the Facebook page and you can write something and leave your email. I might have one of my clients speak with you who's going through some interesting stuff and, beating the pain up and the pain keeps beating it back because that's what the pain does. So thank you for that whole amazing chapter about fighting for yourself. Really, fighting for yourself. That's another great title. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. We'll be in touch. All the best.